Yo, yo, yo! It's your boy! Back with another video, and in today's video, we are going to be covering the entire history of manga, I guess. Or should I say, man, gah! The anime ended, now I have to go read some stupid book. But in today's video, we're going to be covering the general overview of how manga became the titan of an industry that it is today. From the start to the finish and the long journey that it's been on. There's a lot of interesting twists and turns, so be sure to stay for the whole video to see everything that's going to be going on with manga and how we even got to get manga in the first place. But anyway, guys, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel that I deserve it. It lets me know that you guys enjoy these types of videos. It lets me know that you guys want more of them, and it just means a lot. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, and enjoy the video. Manga, comprised of two different syllables, basically one being man and the other being ga. Man meaning whimsical and ga meaning picture. So basically, manga just means whimsical picture, and the literal translation of manga is just comics. And now, manga actually originated all the way back in the 12th century of Japan, although not in the same style that we're familiar with now. This was originally made by the Buddhists back in the old times, where they had a famous work called the Animal Scroll. And there are many popular and different types of scrolls that are throughout the centuries of Japan that are in the style of just picture scrolls, and throughout the time of these drawings, we eventually get to the woodblock printing, or ukiyo-e, and hokusai, who actually coined the phrase manga. And yes, this is the hokusai who made great waves off of Kanagawa. Now, the most recognizable art painting in the entire world is the creator behind the word manga, which is absolutely crazy. He has his own manga called the Hokusai manga that came around in 1814. But before then, around the late 18th century, we had Kibyoushi, which is basically meaning Japanese picture book. And now, around the time of 1784, there were a total of 92 mangas that were created by Kibyoushi. Eventually, they all end up getting banned because of laws and restrictions by the Japanese government, which I'll get into more later. Although Kibyoushi made over 92 manga, the first manga is believed to be Harumachi, which was created in 1775. And this started to make the word manga more popular as it started to build off of steam of itself and just get more and more popular as the time went on, leading to the 18th century and more people starting to use it. Now, with Jiki no Yukikai by Santo Kyoden, he popularized the whole manga industry, and it started to build off of there, and it ended up getting more steam. Now, this leads to around the 1920s when Rakuten Kitazawa introduced the first modern Japanese manga. Now, by the 1930s, we were ending up with more Japanese manga strips and comic strips, a lot of them being very critical of the Japanese government, very political stuff, a lot like the old-timey comic strips that America had, where they were all a lot of political satire and things like that. Now, this leads to the mangakas in this early industry starting to just flourish and absolutely thrive in this environment. That is, around the same time, the Japanese government starts to subdue the mangakas and stuff for treason, because basically they don't like that all this stuff is going out of propaganda pieces that are dissenting on the Japanese government, and this is around the time when they start doing crackdowns and stuff like this. Now, this caused a ton of magazines to either close or become heavily censored, which feels a lot like modern times and a lot of like maybe history repeating itself a little bit if we look at the signs of America with a lot of things being more heavily censored. Although the government's not getting involved, we're seeing more of a social kind of censorship with this kind of thing, which I think is a very interesting look at the past. Now, if a Japanese company did not comply with these new laws, they would actually be arrested, and it got so common that these magazines would specifically hire people called jail editors just so they were arrested, and their job was basically to be arrested and do their thing from jail, and the hopes and getting honor of continuing the company and not letting it die, which is absolutely insane that they had to even get to this point. And now this built up all the way to around World War II, where it kind of climaxes for this kind of punishment. And now any criticism of the government would end up becoming treason, and that's how they would be charged. Now, if mangakas decided to censor their stuff and comply with the things that the Japanese government said, they would end up becoming a lot more free in the sense of them getting honor from the government, and they would get rewards and things for the government. And the people who did not honor these laws received detention sentences, social ostracism, and they were even banned from writing. They weren't even allowed to touch a pen at this point, which is absolutely bananas. And this resulted in many artists who basically just grifted and sold out into the Japanese government and decided to go, yeah, actually, all the stuff that I hated about you, I was just playing, homie. I was just playing. You know me. I'm a jokester. It's just my sarcasm, you know? And they just basically bent the knee and decided to do what the Japanese government told them to do. Now, after World War II, these laws and restrictions were pretty much eradicated and they lifted them. And now this caused a second booming of the manga industry, leading to companies releasing these things called the Red Book. And among the Red Books, this is where we see the father of manga, Osamu Tezuka, make his debut with a lot of different series. Now, this also leads to the industry and manga as a whole being changed completely, because we end up with the Allied occupation of Japan and the post-occupation of Japan, where basically America came in and introduced them to a bunch of different American comics like Betty Boop, Bambi, and a ton of different Mickey Mouse series, Disney works, and things like that. And this heavily shapes the things that manga ends up being. That's why the eyes in manga are so big, because Osamu Tezuka was very much inspired by Disney works, and he wanted it to be somewhat similar to this art style, and he was heavily inspired, leading to the big eyes, like things like Steamboat Willie, Betty Boop, and things like that of the old rubber hose animation style that heavily influenced Osamu Tezuka, and leads to a lot of different art styles and things like that being influenced, along with many other countries influencing anime and manga, which I think is really interesting, that manga isn't just like a Japanese artwork. It's completely filled with every different kind of art style that becomes its own. It's really cool because it's not just like Japan only. It's inspired by a worldwide sort of techniques, and it's really, really interesting to me. And as we go on, Osamu Tezuka releases his first manga at 17 years old, called The Diary of Manchan. This leads to him working on more series. All these were pretty much great successes. This leads him to work with Sakai Shikishima on a series called Shin Takahara, which is based on Treasure Island. I really just wanted to include that because it was a Treasure Island adaptation. I haven't heard that in a long time, and I absolutely loved Treasure Island as a kid, so that was a cool thing I never knew Osamu Tezuka did. And this leads on to him pretty much getting his first like huge worldwide major success, an absolutely massive thing, and that is Kimba the White Lion. Now, this went from 1950 to 1954, and the adaptations went from 1950 all the way to 2009. 2009! That's continuing, like, new series and new adaptations, different things going on, reanimations, like, stuff that it was still worked on. That was over, like, 50 years of just straight-up adaptations that he didn't even have to work on. And this leads to him eventually starting to create a series that we all know and love, and probably the biggest series if you've heard of Osamu Tezuka. If it's not Kimba the White Lion, it's Astro Boy. And his first rendition of this was Ambassador Adam, which was the first appearance of Astro Boy, leading on to this insane success that was a $3 billion in total of sales as of 2004. Like, that's very old. That's the newest thing I could find for that kind of thing. I was really trying hard to find better sales numbers. So if anyone else can see what the current ones are, please let me know, because I couldn't find anything when on my research. I'm sure it's out there. I just missed it or something. $3 billion as of 2004. We're like 16 years past that, or 18 years past that, actually. And this is absolutely bonkers that this series is worth that much. It is one of the most recognizable icons, characters, anything of all time. It's absolutely amazing. And this has Osamu Tezuka's career, with him making over 150,000 pages in 40 years of work. And he ends up selling over 100 million copies of manga. And that is Astro Boy alone type sales. Like, he has all these other Kimba the White Lion, things like that. Astro Boy alone was 100 million in sales total, like up to current day, I believe. Eventually, we end up meeting Machichiko Hasegawa, who is the first female mangaka. She creates a series called Saze-san in 1946. Now, if you guys don't know about this, actually most people in Japan do know about this, even kids this day. You want to know why? That's because it has been running as an anime from 1946 and it is still ongoing to today. This manga, or this anime, actually, from the manga adaptation, is the longest running anime of all time and is still currently ongoing, which is absolutely insane. Now, she has many different awards. She's won tons of different awards over the years, and she kind of pioneered the shoujo genre, even though at the time it wasn't called that. But a lot of her mangas and things like that had her series going through women's daily lives and stuff like that, so it was heavily in the shoujo genre. Now, this ends up leading into the 1950 to 1969, where Japan's marketing genres pretty much completely encompassed shoujo and shonen. Now, in 1969, we have a group of female mangakas who come together and create a group called the Year 24 Group, or the Magnificent 24. Now, someone involved in this group is Moto Hagio, who is the founding mother of shoujo manga. She created plenty of different series over the years, but she pretty much made shoujo what it is today. She is a lot of the inspiration behind all of the shoujo manga that is even up to today, that it kind of shapes it and has that style and feel and kind of how it started in that day. Now, manga ends up going international in the 1970s in Europe first, and then in the 1980s in America. So then we have the first manga, which was released in an international language, and that was Astro Boy, which was a re-adaptation of it released by Gold Key Comics. And we have Barefoot Gen actually being the first art manga in English, being the first manga that was released that wasn't actually a re-adaptation. It was actually in its original artwork and not remade. Now, to go back a little bit, I want to cover Seshua, or Weekly Shonen Jump, and how they kind of got their thing. So they actually started off in 1925 as an entertainment division of Shogakukan, and in 1926 they end up breaking up and becoming Seshua on August 8th of that year. And after that, around the time of 1949, they actually become Seshua Inc., what we would know as the Weekly Shonen Jump now. And in 1968, the first Weekly Shonen Jump magazine was published. I want to go off on that tangent for a little bit because Weekly Shonen Jump is probably the most influential thing of this era, so I think it's really important to know how they do. So we had to go back a little bit in time to do that. And so with this, getting back, we get to see that in Europe, France ends up becoming the largest lover of manga over in the European continent and ending up with 50% of the market share up to today. So after manga becomes an international celebrity and pretty much just ends up growing up and becoming more and more popular with series and industries like Kodansha, Tokyo Pop, and many other publishers, Viz Media, things like that, starting to get into the game over the years, we end up seeing that manga throughout the years, like things like Tokyo Beat Cops from 1976 to 2016, we then get Dragon Ball from 1984 to 1985, and then in the 90s, we get the Oda Sensei, the legend himself, we get One Piece from 1997 to the present. And as of 2020, manga has peaked at a total of 613 billion yen, or in USD, a 5.4 billion USD industry, which is absolutely crazy. Although Elon Musk just bought Twitter for 43 billion yen, so what do I know anymore? And it doesn't seem that big of a number when you hear $43 billion being just thrown out there for a company, which is crazy. But as we can see, manga is still evolving over the years, and there's just so much more to get into with manga, and that we are even getting modern classics as of today with things of My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, Kimi no Todoke, Full Metal Alchemist, Goodnight Poon Poon, and so many more. We are still writing the history of manga, and we are nowhere close to the end of manga. I can just see it getting bigger and bigger because there's something about manga that really just encapsulates somebody for wanting to read it, and also the fact that the anime, you'll never get to finish it, so you have to kind of read the book, and they basically handcuff you and say, you're going to read this, and you don't have much of a choice about it. But the history of manga is such a fascinating thing, and I know I kind of glossed over a lot of things, and I didn't go super in depth on everything. That's because I didn't really want the video to be over 3 hours long. But if you guys want to know more in-depth stuff about each decade, please let me know in the comments down below. And also, what do you guys think about this video? What do you guys think about the history of manga? What do you guys like about it? Do you guys like this video? Do you guys find it informative, interesting? Is there anything that I missed? Let me know if there's anything that I missed that's really important or a key thing. And if it is, I'll try to do my best to have it up on the top so people can know about it and that you'll get your credit due where it is. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. I really hope you enjoyed this video. This was a lot of fun and something really different that I really enjoyed doing and creating and researching. I loved really diving in deep with manga and seeing what's going on in this world and just checking out a medium that I love and seeing how it was created. And I just really want to give the respect to everybody who created manga and the ancestors who allowed for us to get the kind of series that we got today and allowed me to get all the happiness that I can get from this medium. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate you guys checking out these videos. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel that I deserve it. It means a lot. Lets me know, again, that you guys enjoy this type of stuff. But anyway, guys, have a great day. And as always, I will see you in another video.